What's up, Instagram? What's up, Instagram? I haven't done a live on here in a little bit. But today I figured it's the day. I've had the flu. I'm finally recovering. So just wanted to check in and say hi. Say happy Indigenous Peoples Day to our family out there, to all of our relatives from Apia Yala, those in the communities that have not been disconnected, those of us have been displaced, those of us have been moved out, those of us who are connecting, those of us who are searching the dust, those of us who are searching for our ancestors, all of y'all. My nose ring, this is a gift from my cousin in Mexico. I don't know where she got it from. I can ask her, but it has a little bit of turquoise in it, which I think is why she got it for me. But what's up my beautiful people? It's so much, y'all, so much. Shout out to our people who mobilized to push and pressure Nury Martinez to resign. And yo, I just had a conversation on TikTok about this, right? That conversation that was leaked by Nury Martinez, yo, like, it represents everything that's wrong with our communities, right? That they like to homogenize as Latino, but you know what we're talking about. The anti-Indigenous sentiments, the anti-Blackness, right? The anti-LGBTQ two-spirit plus sentiments. I wasn't shocked to hear her speak like that, because that's how I was raised, right? I'm being very fucking honest, y'all. I have no problem being honest with y'all about that. A lot of us are raised in these very toxic, colonial as fuck ideologies that get normalized, right? They get normalized into everyday conversations. So when I heard that audio, it triggered those memories. And I immediately had to remind myself of all those uncomfortable conversations I have had with family, with friends, with significant others, right? Because I think the biggest thing is that we, especially like me, I'm from the light-skinned, detribalized Mexicana community. I ain't speaking for everybody, y'all. That's where I'm speaking from, right? I was born and raised on Tongva territory, known as Los Angeles. And I was raised in a very colorist family, in a very anti-Black family. And so it took me a lot of work, intentional work, to deconstruct those sentiments and to understand what role they've played in my family, in my legacy, in my community. So it takes a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of work to have these brave conversations. And so that's one thing that stood out to me, right? The second thing that stood out to me was how this whole idea of Latino leaders and Latino power, and Latino leadership, how it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. What does that mean to be a Latino leader? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean to me? Does that matter? Is it relevant to me? What does that mean to be a Latino leader? Because obviously, the leading part of Latino leadership is very white supremacist, it's very racist, very classist, and we're supposed to just follow this shit. You know? Thank you, Mr. Kinka. Like, where do we start, this conversation? Like, this is the type of shit that we need to fix. We need to heal from this, right? But the way it is to be done, which I love that so many of our people mobilized, right? It's accountability. It's accountability, right? And it's accountability for conversations that are violent. That was violent speech. People say, oh, she was laughing. It's a conversation. No, it's violence. Because people who hold power are going to use their worldview to make decisions that affect us. And if they don't care about us, and if they are against dark-skinned Mexicans and the black community, and their constituents are, guess what, dark-skinned and black folks in the community, and LGBTQ folks in the community, and you are disrespecting and mocking and belittling, come on now. You're in the wrong city. You're in the wrong city. Wrong city, homegirl, to be busting that shit. Wrong city. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. My indigenous grandfather hated all races. My grandmother wasn't ever racist, but since many other Hispanics are racist, she thinks now she has to discriminate. My grandfather warned me though. Yes. So it's real, yo. Then there's Kanye West. Oh man. What's going on? Like, what's happening? Like, what is happening in the world today? I don't understand why we have to put others into our problems when we don't even get enough representation of our own people. What do you mean by that? Can you elaborate, please? I think that could go like 3 different ways. It's real shit though. And the funniest thing is that they feed us this lie that, you know, look, you have Mexicans in power, you have Latinos in power, y'all made it. Oh, you have this, like, really? So this person that obviously is following a white supremacist worldview that is in power, who happens to kind of look like me and have a Spanish surname, all of a sudden that's supposed to make me blindly follow them and trust them based on what? That's exactly what's wrong with Latinidad, right? So this reflects and reveals so many tenets of the white elements of Latinidad. Right? Latinidad is white supremacy. Latinidad is about white is right, dark is black, you know, dark is bad, black is bad. Like, Latinidad, it's an entire ideology that manifests itself into these type of conversations. Right? Frey the Great, what's up, relative? Yes, that's supposed to empower us. She just got exposed. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And she's not just talking, she's talking to other so-called leaders in the community, right? Yes. Afro-Latinos, yeah. Afro-Indigenous, Afro-Mexicanos, Afro-Salvadoreños, absolutely. Like, her narrative is toxic as fuck, right? Like, where does she, and this is the thing, this is very, like, people think it's not, oh, personal racial. Yes, it is. How does she view herself? If she is disgusted by dark-skinned Mexicanos, or she calls Oaxaqueños, and she is appalled by the black community, and she is about beating up kids, who she's pro-violence, like, what is her worldview about herself? Like, who the fuck does she think she is to talk this way? I mean, it was toxic on every element. No one was safe in that conversation, but we're supposed to trust them with the decisions they're making about our health care, about our insurance, about all these things that have to do with our lives. We're supposed to trust people that hate us, and not just white folks we're talking about. It's our own people. It's our own people. And I hate this to share this, but I was having a conversation with my partner the other night, and we were talking about how this very famous saying in our community, especially in the Mexican community, that says, no, un mexicano, el peor enemigo de un mexicano es otro mexicano, right? The worst enemy of a Mexican is another Mexican. And that fucking doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable to say that shit, but it's real. It's real. Indigenous Nazis. Yes, y'all. Oaxacans are ugly when 1/3 of the state of Oaxaca is indigenous people. Exactly, like that sentiment, that racism, like, to the Oaxaqueño community, like, mis respetos, my apologies. Like, we have so much work to do. We have so much fucking work to do for y'all not to feel attacked and to feel violated this way. Like, seriously, what the fuck? Yes. Exactly. So this is whom we were presented for us to feel empowered, and the first Latina council president. Oh wow, like, we're supposed to, like, think that we made it. We're supposed to think that we made it, right? We're supposed to think that we made it because someone that looks like us and might understand us in the Spanish language that some of us speak, all of a sudden, oh, look, we made it. Calm down. Calm down. We're going to sprinkle some brown people here so you can feel represented and you can shut up and go back to your lives, right? Right? Isn't that the purpose of tokenism? Yes, Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. That's exactly how I started this live. That's the first thing that I said. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Feliz Día de los Pueblos Originarios a toda nuestra gente. Saludos, saludos. Yes, token politicians. So that's the problem. Like, we're told to trust, we're told to work, we're told to vote, and this happens, right? And this is not just about her. This is not just about her. Like, the other one I can give an example of is Antonio Villaraigosa, right? The first Latino, I don't know if he was mayor or whatever. I read an LA Times article when he said that he was in Mecha in college and that he was, like, you know, active. But they asked him what race he chose on the US Census, and he chose white. So I'm like, oh shit, we have someone that represents us who is in office, who was conscious or was down with Mecha in college, but now that he's in this political seat, he is self-identifying as white. So white is deeper than skin, y'all. That's one thing we have to understand. Whiteness transcends skin color. Whiteness transcends skin color. It's a mindset. It's a privilege. It's an allegiance to a world that you want to participate in and leave everyone else behind. Whew! I gotta fucking quote myself on that shit because me salió del corazón. Oh, fuck, dude. And you know what? Thankfully, I've had many earlier lessons in life where I learned that just because you look kind of like me, don't mean you're with me, don't mean you're down with me. I've had that example happen over and over to me, and I'm sure a lot of you can too. Whitexicans, oh my goodness, I've heard of them. I have heard, oh my, there's this YouTube channel where this guy was like, No todos los mexicanos somos morenos. Yo soy güero. I'm like, ay, torpe, estúpido. Sabemos eso por las pinches novelas. Ay, no, la ignorancia. Now they're misappropriating indigenous symbols like the Nazis did, but since they have a little indigenous blood, they think they can hide it behind indigenous culture. I'm reading comments, y'all. Exactly. Not all skin folk are kin folk. That's right. I've learned that so many times, especially in academia. I have to say, especially in fucking academia, y'all. Especially. She still has a seat on council. How and why? Her words were disgusting for her. So supposedly she resigned today. That's the newest news that I've heard, that she resigned today. So we'll see what that plays out. You know? And one of the things that honestly I was thinking was, okay, I want to see the faces of Spanish speaking media when they play or translate her audio. Right? Because some of the most anti-Indigenous, anti-Black, sentiments that I grew up with were seen on Univision and Telemundo. So I want to see how they cover this story today. The fact that she resigned, she was pressured to resign by the community, who were fed up, who were disgusted by her anti-Indigenous sentiments, her anti-Blackness, her homophobia, her violence. For goodness sake, her violence. Right? Like, how are they going to cover this? And this is real shit, though. How are our family members going to talk about this? Because I grew up with those conversations. I grew up in a very anti-Black family and a very colorist family. And the most uncomfortable conversations are not the ones you have with strangers, are not the ones you have with politicians, are not the ones you have with strangers online. They're the conversations that you have with your inner circle, with your family, with work, with relationships, right? Those are the tough conversations. And those are the conversations that are going to change this. Right? Because yes, we are upset that this is happening, that she said that. But let's be real. We need to challenge that shit ourselves. Just like her conversation was leaked, think of all those conversations you grew up with. Think of all those conversations you grew up hearing, the racism against the indigenous communities, against Oaxaqueños, against the Black community. And it's hard, y'all. It's hard when you're the only person in that family or in that space to have the courage to say, a mí no me parece justo, a mí no me gusta que hablen así, a mí no me gusta que hablen y se burlen de indígenas, que se burlen de oaxaqueños. Like, that's some real shit. There's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. And this is real. I agree. It starts with, I'm going to read the comments. It starts with, at home, I always find myself struggling, challenging my mother's colorism. That's real. Thank you for sharing. De Avi says, same. I'm always having to check parent, cousins, etc. for anti-Black, anti-Indigenous rhetoric. Same. Exactly. And they're harsh conversations. Because we love our family. Because we love our, our little cousin or whatever. Like, but that comfort level where Federico Navarrete calls el racismo privado, right? He calls it private racism. It's what's going to change this. And it's about, and that's what I want to tell people. This is a mindset. where she's talking about the way she's referring to Oaxaqueño community, the way she refers to the Black community, the way she's referring to the LGBTQ community, the way she talks about hitting kids and setting them straight. Like these are all the toxic traits that we grow up with, that we normalize and think it's okay because our grandmother said it, because our great grandpa said it. And we become that, and we carry that, and we spread that. And when you are that, and when you think that way, and you surround yourself with other people who think that way, and who won't call your shit out, who are just going to nod because they want you to fucking promote them, or because they want to get some fucking perk from being your friend because you're a politician, that shit is fermented. As we all saw, as we all heard, right? So it's deeper than skin, y'all. That's what I'm telling you. This is deeper than skin. This is a mindset. So you can be from our community and still have these sentiments. You could be supposedly representing the marginalized communities of Los Angeles and still think this as you are in those seats. So there is a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of healing to be done. A lot of accountability to be had. But I think what this exposes, it's about all of those conversations that we hear and we stay quiet about. Think of all those conversations that were anti-Indigenous, that were anti-Black, and that you froze. You froze because you didn't know if you wanted to bring that uncomfortable feeling of confrontation to this person that you love. So you froze. That, to me, is what I am taking away from this expose, right, of her leaked conversations. What happened to my eyes? What the heck? Anyway, that's real shit, y'all. And that's where shit gets real. We should all be bothered by this. Those of us that are telling us to be quiet about it, that we're exaggerating, that it's not that big of an issue, have a lot of shit to hide. Have a lot of conversations to be had. Right? What happened to the Mexica movement? I don't know. I left in 2017. I have no idea what happened to them. So that's what this conversation is, right? It's like, I'm not shocked for her conversations. I'm not shocked. I'm glad she resigned. I think it's about us confronting this shit in all aspects of our lives. I haven't froze my whole life, honestly. My best friend in the 2nd grade was attacked by a 5th grade Nazi. Other white kids jumped me in the white school, tried to expel me. I'm glad you spoke out. I'm glad you stood up for yourself. But this is real, right? These Latino leaders that were given, supposedly representation matters, and then we get this type of shit. So like I said, my biggest reflection today, first and foremost, is to honor our ancestors, because it is Indigenous Peoples Day for those of you in Los Angeles area, Tongvaquis territory. But in digging deeper beyond this expose of Nury Martinez, is all these conversations that I've heard, that we grow up with, that we normalize, that are carrying, dripping with anti-Indigenism, with anti-Black sentiments, with homophobia. We have a lot of work to do. You know, we have a lot of work to do, because the violence that comes out of this is dangerous. It's dangerous to think this way and to have that much power. Right? That's why our undeserved communities are the way they are, neglected. They don't care. Exactly. So anyway, I know this conversation was heavy, y'all. I'm glad you shared space with me tonight. I'm going to get back to my classes. I'm teaching right now every Wednesday night, so I need to get everything ready for that. But thank you for sharing space with me tonight. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. May we continue to heal. May we continue to dismantle, to deconstruct, to destroy these ideologies that are so fucking dehumanizing and that steal away our joy and that impose this disgusting hierarchy that continues with colonization. Pure Do says, it's not easy to call out people when we do usually stand alone, but it must be done, everyone, any change. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for listening. We have to be the brave souls. Sometimes you're going to be alone. But remember that that gift you have, you know, it could feel like a burden sometimes, but it's a very, very, very great honor to be able to have that courage and that bravery to speak. You know, thank you so much. So yes, y'all, I'm about to head out. I teach autonomous courses. For those who don't know, my name is Citlalli Anahuac. I'm the person behind Mexican Excellence. You find me on YouTube as well. And I teach courses, y'all, because I want y'all to know this. I'm a decolonial profesora. I'm a historian, poet, activist, and continue finding the work that I'm doing, amplifying what we're doing. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day to you all. May you continue to rise. May you continue to shine. May you continue to take up space and heal for those of our ancestors that could not. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful night.